If you grow flowers, then at some point you'll likely find yourself faced with the task of arranging them. Now don't worry, that's not to say that you need to become a professional floral designer, but I think it's important to at the very least to have a general understanding of how to build bouquets. Here at Two Sisters Flower Farm, the majority of our flowers are actually sold as market bouquets, which we sell either online, at our flower stand, or through local florists that we partner with. My first year in business as a flower farmer, I remember naively thinking that I could just whip up bouquets quickly. I mean, easy peasy, no problem. I honestly anticipated that it would be the growing and the harvesting of flowers that would take way more of my time. Obviously, I found out quickly that this wasn't the case, and it didn't take long for me to realize that I needed to become more efficient with the way that I created bouquets, especially if my business was going to sustain itself, because I couldn't afford to spend the amount of time that I was spending per bouquet. And so out of pure necessity, I started researching and looking into different ways of building bouquets. And the one technique that I landed on that I still use most frequently for my own market bouquets, it's referred to as the European hand-tied method. Now it sounds fancy, but I promise with a little practice, it actually helps make the bouquet building process a lot easier. And it's been a saving grace within my own market bouquet program. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today in this video. So earlier this week, I stopped by a local flower shop and I picked up some flowers to demonstrate this bouquet building technique for you. Now before we get started, I want to give you a simple reminder that it's easier to work with clean stems. So if you're trying this technique out and you have lots of foliage on your stems, now is the time that you want to remove that. Now some other helpful tips before we get started. I want to encourage you to stay relaxed and to work with a loose grip. As you progress with your bouquet using this technique, it's normal for flowers to shift and move, and I promise you that there will be time for adjustment at the end. And more importantly, in order to achieve that natural, airy feeling with your bouquet design, it's important that you don't have a death grip on your flowers. Keep a loose grip. And last but not least, I want to remind you to not overthink it. Don't overthink the flowers that you're using, the placement of your stems, none of that. Bouquet making, it's an art, and the more you try and force it, I can almost guarantee you that's when you'll be least satisfied with your final result. So if you're feeling frustrated or if you think you're not liking how your bouquet is coming along, just push through because I promise you it will come together. Okay, let's get started. So to begin, you're going to want to take two stems, any two stems, and you're going to want to cross them in front of you. Now, I like to hold my flowers in my left hand, and I like to place my flowers with my right hand. It's what works for me, but do what comes natural for you. So notice here that the flowers, they relax in my hand, and I'm only using two fingers to pinch the flowers together to keep them in place. I'm using my pointer finger and my thumb. Sometimes I like to rest the flower stems against these bottom three fingers right here, but it's my pointer and my thumb that are doing all the work of holding this bouquet together. Now this first part of the process, the idea is to get material into your hand. Remember, you can go back and you can adjust later, so I'm not going to put too much thought into which flowers I'm adding in. But when I do add in a flower, I'm going to take the stem in my right hand. I'm going to place it at a 45-degree angle to the two stems that are already in my hand. I'm going to place it right here. Don't worry, I'll get closer to the camera for you. But do you see that? Now I'm going to give my bouquet a quarter turn. The stem that I just placed within my bouquet, that's the stem that's going to be on top after I do that quarter turn. So I'm going to close my bouquet, quarter turn, and I'm going to relax my hand again, and the stems are going to naturally fall. So I'm going to repeat that process. I'm going to choose a flower, add set it in at a 45-degree angle, I'm going to close my bouquet, quarter turn. So I'm going to add, turn, add, turn. Now I'm not going to worry too much about what's going into my bouquet. I'm not putting too much pressure onto where things are landing. I just want to get some product into my hand. And as I begin to hold more flowers, I will open up my grip a little bit, but I'm still relying just on that pointer and that thumb to do most of the work. I want to keep my grip loose, again, to allow for movement. So let's add some more. Now what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to get frustrated at this point. This actually gets easier the more flowers that you have in your hand. So if you can't balance the flowers or you're just having a hard time getting the hang of it, I promise it gets easier with more product. But again, you're following that same process. Add, turn, add, turn. Don't worry if things start to shift down on you or you start to lose sight of some flowers. We can change that in the end. Just get the flowers into a bouquet. Okay, so this is where I'm at right now. The great thing about this is you can see that I've created this spiral underneath. My stems are organized very nicely. They're not all tangled together, which means if I want to add something into my bouquet, or if I want to remove a certain element, I can do that very easily. Now also, if I want to adjust the height of something, all I gotta do is give it a gentle tug. Again, because my stems are nicely organized, that flower just pops right up. So here I've lost sight of this carnation. I want to bring that one up a little bit. These billy balls are kind of falling down. And so I'm just going to play with it in my hand. Miss Veronica, I want to see her. Or if I'm like, oh, if I don't like where that I have two Veronicas next to each other, I can remove this just with a gentle pull. I say, oh, I want to add it, I can add it over here. I'm actually going to, there we go, insert, there we go, just like that. So once you're happy with the look of your bouquet, you're happy with the amount of product that you have within your bouquet, everything is placed just where you want it, now's the time where you're going to finish it off. This is where I give everything a fresh cut, and then I'm going to tie it with a rubber band. So I just have my favorite snips here. I'm just going to go straight across. making sure that everything is close to the same length. And then I'm going to show you my trick for tying this with a rubber band. So I have a rubber band here. I'm going to go up one stem, then I'm going to wrap it probably about twice, and I can go up that same stem, and there you go. Now if this was a bouquet that I was going to use for an event, maybe you're going to use this for a wedding, then I'd probably tie some ribbon at the bottom of it. But for me, since this is likely a market bouquet, I'm just going to wrap this in a craft paper sleeve wrap. So I have one right here. Now if you want to know where I get these craft paper sleeves, go check out last week's video, because not only do I include my supplier of these craft paper sleeves, but all the supplies I use for growing cut flowers. Drop that inside, and then I'd probably tie it with one more rubber band. And voila, a market bouquet. And there you have it, a simple and beautiful bouquet that you can enjoy yourself or gift to someone else. I encourage you to give this technique a try. Know that it does take some practice to become proficient with it, but with a little bit of time, you'll be whipping out beautiful and lush market bouquets in no time. So there you have it. Everything you need to know to craft a market bouquets using the European hand-tied method. I hope you found the information in this video helpful, and if you did, we'd really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button below. Now, as always, I can't wait to see you in the next video.